Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Racing Chronicles. As always, I am AJ, the avid Chris Buescher fan and Chase Briscoe fan. As always, I'm not alone. I got the rest of the squad here with me, minus one person at the moment, but let's introduce everybody. What's going on, Checker?
All right. You're doing good. You're doing good, Brad. Okay, we made it. We actually made it. Holy shit, we didn't actually wreck out the one of the fucking laps.
Actually, you guys wrecked.
Still, but we made it to top 5. But we'll get into that when we get there. But hey, what's up, guys? My name's Checker. After Daytona, the 500, and let's get going on this journey.
What up, James?
Oh, good. Good 500, I think. We managed a solid result, I think. Kept the car clean. That was the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. What up, Channy?
How's it going, everybody? My name is Shani. I am the avid Ryan Priest, William Byron simp out of this fucking clusterfuck. But yeah, we just got done with the Daytona 500. So with introductions out of the way, I can't fucking speak. Let's get this podcast started.
And apparently English is a very hard language for Channy. Anyway, as always, we have our lovely producer, ISO, in the background. Sonny is once again running a little bit late. He will be joining that episode, but we have a lot to talk about anyway, so let's go and get this episode started. First and foremost, let's break the weekend down. We had the truck race on Friday night. Chandler Smith won in a pretty dramatic fashion, in my opinion. We'll get into that in a minute. As nobody else is shocked, Austin Hill wins the Xfinity race. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. The O'Reilly race, that's going to take some time to get used to. And on Sunday, Tyler Reddick snapped his 38-race winless streak and wins the Daytona 500. Man, let me just tell you, I think this was a great weekend overall. There was some controversy, and we'll talk about that as well. But I mean, the truck race was actually good. I only watched half of it, but I got caught up to speed from Sonny and everyone else. It looked like it was actually a really good race. Did anyone here actually listen to it or watch it? Can they vouch?
Yeah, I did listen to it on MRN. The ending was really, really good.
For sure. James, did you watch it at all?
I watched the whole thing. I think it was a good race. What sucks what happened with Cleus and Tony, because those were the two big storylines going into the race and what happened with them. But great, I think it was a great finish. But I mean, it was a good race, I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to say it again. I'm trying really hard not to. I think the same could be said for the O'Reilly race. It was pretty good for the most part. I mean, it's your typical super speedway race on the O'Reilly cars. I did want to shout out really quick my boy Ryan Sieg, coming back after a spin and kept the car clean, finished third. I'm telling you, man, his day is going to be coming close. I'm telling you. I really think this switch to Chevy is really going to do that team a whole lot of favors, and it really proved on Saturday because they qualified. I think he qualified 10th and was pretty much in the running at the end there. Had a really good car and kept the car in one piece, and that's the most important part about these super speedway races. And then Sunday, man. All of us kind of had a up and down weekend on Sunday, up and down day on Sunday, but I wanted to start off with myself because listen. I think this switch to the chase format has really motivated Buescher a whole lot, and I think James can probably vouch for me because look at the day Buescher had, okay? And this is the thing that kind of pisses me off a little bit. Nobody out of all the podcasts I listened to this week mentioned how much wreck avoidance Buescher had all race. Like, my God, how many wrecks did this motherfucker avoid? Like 4, 5? Am I right?
It was a good amount. I mean, heck, even the early one with BJ McLeod, he managed to just barely escape through that one.
For sure, and he was right in the middle of that too, and I'm just like, how did he avoid that? And then, oh man, dude, my heart was pounding during the big one because I thought we were done. I thought we were junk, and I literally got confirmation from RFK Racing on Twitter, and he said he barely made it through, but he has some minor nose damage. I'm like, How in the fuck did he avoid that? Literally, Checker and Channy can vouch because they heard me. They heard me in the background when we were in a VC.
Oh man! I thought he was gonna be. I honestly was like thinking, oh no. When I heard him, I was like, oh no, what happened? And then it was good, but it was good, avoidance. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, he made it out alive, and that was the most important part. But anyways, he had a really good day. Got stage points in both stages. Finished seventh. It was a great points day. That's how we start off 2025. Sorry, 2026. My bad. It was a great day overall, and I really hope we keep this momentum going into Atlanta. Checker, I got to address the elephant in the room here real quick. So I want you to. Brad had a pretty solid day for the most part. I mean, he got a top 10, a top 5, which I did make some money off of that, by the way. I want you to tell me your thoughts on what happened there at the end with the 35, trying to pick up his teammate. He didn't have a good enough run there, trying to get with the 45, and it ultimately pushed him up into the lane Brad was in, and it caused a wreck. Can you share your thoughts on that really quick?
I mean, Riley, we obviously know that Riley Herbst really just wanted to go for the 500 win. But mostly everyone wants to go for their first 500 win.
Sure.
But in all honesty, I think just the way he executed it was just a good old
wrong place, wrong time.
Just wrong time, yeah. Just a rush, try to get there, but just ultimately just causing something massive. And I'm just so glad that Brad actually crossed, right around good time, because it could have been way worse for us, at the end of our day. But I get it with Riley, but I'm obviously not going to fault Riley because, he's obviously trying to win like everyone else, and it just happened. It's how Super Speedway is.
Super Speedway racing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and James, I'm pretty sure you could probably vouch on the same thing. I mean, I don't really see anything wrong with what... I mean, it was more of a wrong place, wrong time type of deal for Riley, in my opinion, but, I mean, it's just Super Speedway racing, do you think?
I would agree. I mean, at the same time, that's a pretty errant block. So, I mean, you can excuse... I mean, if it was any lap other than the last lap, you could absolutely just rip Riley apart for that. But because it's the last lap, it's a little more lenient, kind of like, okay, going for the win kind of move.
Sure, and I agree with that. And everyone was kind of tearing Riley a new one about it, and I'm just like, why? I'm like, it's the last lap. He's going for the win. You can't really... Here's the thing. If you watch that last lap again, there was a whole lot going on there. Not just with Tyler Reddick having that massive run, but Brad also had a really big run too. And, Riley was trying to protect the top. He protected the top way too late, and it ultimately caused a jam up at the end of turn 4, coming to the start-finish line. And I mean, it is what it is. It's just Super Speedway racing. In my opinion, Riley didn't really do anything wrong. I mean, do I fault Brad for being upset? No. But at the same time, Brad's got to remember himself. He's caused way more wrecks that were worse than that. So take that as you will. Channy, I got to ask you a question. So at the end there, at the end of the race there, Ryan Preece got caught up at the last wreck. So I know, look, man, I know you're a fan of Ryan Preece, but what were your thoughts on him crossing the start-finish line backwards?
It's like, I don't know if he was like, trying to win the race, or he was trying to do a perfectly good impression of Toe Mater.
A little bit of both, probably. But talk us through your day real quick. I know you kind of had a rough 500, but Byron too, because all the hype around Byron trying to get his 3rd straight 500, and he was involved in a wreck early. He had a rough day. He was involved in like 3 different wrecks. So take us through that real quick.
Yeah, I honestly thought that Byron was actually gonna get it done and win the 500, but then when that wreck happened, I'm just like, motherfucker.
I believe that. James, I heard you had a pretty decent weekend too. I mean, for Suarez standards, that's a good 500, I would say.
Yeah, he did get stage points in stage one. I remember watching it, and the Hocevar was making the move, and he just wasn't going there. I just screamed, "I was like, go faster, Hocevar!" Because I wanted them to get up there because they were working together. So, yeah, no, great day. Got stage points. Came away with a clean car in the 13th place finish. See, I saw his onboard. He somehow got through the big one there at the last lap. So, and just basically sees parted because Blaney was on the outside. And he got turned across him. Didn't come back up and get him. So that was lucky avoidance to get that spot.
Yes, for sure. Real quick, let's get into the part about was the Daytona 500 a good race, and I believe this is the part where James is going to have a well-deserved rant, but let me go get the Jeff Gluck poll really fast. I remember it was in the 70s. I know that. Oh, here it is. It was the Daytona 500. Was the Daytona 500 a good race? 73. The final poll count was 73.9%. Forgiven for a super speedway on the next gen at Daytona for the Daytona 500. That's pretty good, in my opinion. Now, look, let's address the huge elephant in the room here: the fuel saving. Okay, take it how you will, but I really think, as anticipated, the fuel saving was probably the most annoying part about this 500, in my opinion. When guys weren't fuel saving, the racing was actually pretty good, and that's saying a lot considering with how far we've come with this next gen. I think, in my opinion, this was a good race. Especially the finish there. But I mean, there is some controversy, and James, I'll let you have it.
All right. So my opinion on this race, I think it was a good race. I enjoyed it. I'm glad NASCAR's back and everything. I love Super Speedway racing. However, that finish was just utter BS, dude. It's like I'm getting tired of watching these great super speedway races. Great racing, free wide, even the fuel saving, it looks cool. But I hate when it gets down to it, they cannot help but crash. And that's all they did. Especially this 500. They wrecked coming out of the tri-oval, and they just took everyone out there. And they looked like we were going to get a clean finish, and then Herps came up in the Brad, and they wrecked across the line. And it's just kind of one of those things that's like, why? Why do you gotta do this? Because it's like Reddick literally won, and I have nothing against him, the team, anything like that. The only reason he won was because for whatever reason he was the only one who could keep his car facing forwards on the last lap, and
Yeah.
that just annoys the heck out of me. It's like, can we go clean finish, please? Because when we get good clean finishes at super speedways in this car, they're really good. Daytona last fall, the 4Y photo finish. Harvick, Blaney, Talladega, side by side. Um, it's just when you let it play out naturally. Which that was a great final run, and I really enjoyed that final run up to the white flag. McDowell and Hosfar were working well together, and it was one of those things. It was just like, and then the field combusted basically. It was just like, why? That annoys me, and it ticks me off massively. Right over.
I mean, I don't blame you, but at the same time, though, I mean, that's just the product of super speedway racing and guys getting too desperate. Because in my eyes, that was about as clean as it was going to get, right? Yeah, it was kind of a wreck fest, but at the same time, it really wasn't. But I mean, 37 out of the 41 cars were involved in a wreck somehow, some way in this damn 500, and that's kind of shocking to me. And at the same time, I'm not surprised, but I mean, what more do you want here? Like, I mean, I understand where James is coming from on this, but at the same time, though, you get what you get. This is one of those deals. You can only have it one way, right? It's either we get gridlocked and nobody can go anywhere, and everyone's stuck in the middle or on the top or on the bottom, or we let these finishes play out naturally, and then there's going to be a wreck either way. So, I mean, take that what you will. But in my opinion, listen, this is something I just noticed too. I was listening to, I heard this mentioned on the Teardown. I've heard this mentioned on multiple platforms this week. Jenna Fryer, who works with the Associated Press, mentioned that all three teams that won the Daytona or that won at Daytona this weekend were all associated with this lawsuit. So, this is kind of that was kind of a shocker. And another thing I wanted to point out too about that was I wanted to share a little bit of something that was also mentioned too. That when Michael Jordan came into victory lane, the first person to come down there and shake Michael Jordan's hand was Jim France. And listen, I know we gave a lot of, everyone gave their 2 cents on the lawsuit and everything that happened over the offseason with the lawsuit. But I think we could all agree here that that was a very masterclass act from Jim France, in my opinion. Am I right?
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yep.
Because look, 2 months ago, those two were at each other's throats in court, and after this lawsuit settled, they shook hands and went on about their business. That's class, especially for MJ. Because MJ officially has his own Daytona 500 ring. That's another ring in his collection, besides all of his NBA championships. Am I right? So, very huge for 23XI for Row and RCR. It was a big weekend for all of them. So I need to share another thing in the fuck. I need to address the elephant in the room here, and I think Checker already knows where I'm going with this, but we need to talk about Anthony Alfredo and the week he had.
Oh yes. Oh fuck.
Okay, so let's talk about Anthony Alfredo. Poor guy could not catch a break after we recorded our episode last week. He raced his way into the Daytona 500 in his duel. His time was disallowed. Well, everyone's like, is that technically a disqualification? And I got confirmation from Mike Ford on the Holler Talk this week that no, it was not technically a disqualification. Since it was a qualifying race, his time was disallowed. His time was disallowed because of a couple hoses that were loose after the race was over and the car went through tech. Ultimately, basically disallowing his time. He would not make the Daytona 500. Oh, and not to mention, he failed to qualify for the O'Reilly Auto Parts race on Saturday. And the good news out of that was Alpha Prime and Viking Motorsports strike the deal out, so Anthony could race on Saturday. I think he raced in the 4 car. That was Cesar. Right. It was Cesar Baccarella's car. Anthony took the seat, and he finished 11th. So, in my opinion, that was a win for Anthony that weekend. But, man, I feel bad, okay? Look, Anthony Alfredo doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities to run in Cup, and the Daytona 500 is one of the biggest races of the year, and that was just hard to watch, because literally not 20 seconds before Bob Hawkers tweeted that his time was disallowed, I literally just watched his interview again from when he was interviewed on FS1, and he was so excited that he made the 500, and then it's just that was a total gut punch, man, and I hate it for Anthony.
It was like we were, I think we were, it was me, AJ, Chandy. We were sitting in a VC in another server, and when James put that out in Cup Series, I was the first one to look at it. And I was like, ain't no fucking way. Because I was like so confused. And Amber H was like, what? I said, Anthony Alfredo the time just got disallowed. And he's like, what?
Like, he just made his way into the 500. What happened?
And then, yeah, we were all just scrambling, waiting for the results. And then
it was something so minor.
And then ultimately, BJ McLeod got in because that happened. And I was just like, it's nothing against BJ. It was more, I was just like, damn.
It was a feel-good story for Anthony. For him to make the 500 and then just have NASCAR say, nope, never mind.
I actually hope that Beard Motorsports gives Anthony a chance at another Super Series, maybe Dangers. I actually hope they give him another chance somewhere.
Supposedly they're going to be running Talladega in April. I don't know if it's with Anthony Alfredo, though. I would imagine it would be with Jesse Love, but I could be wrong. But, it's just, James, I mean, I know you're a huge fan of underdogs, so what were your thoughts on that happening? Just take me what you saw, what Anthony had to deal with this weekend, and just tell me how you feel about that.
I genuinely feel bad for him. See, that's like, I don't want to wish like what happened with him in the duels and stuff. I prefer McLeod over Alfredo. I was hoping McLeod would get in. I didn't want McLeod in like that. And it's like, but then he failed to qualify for the O'Reilly race. I'm like, dude, this guy might just genuinely be cursed this weekend. And when you got the O'Reilly race, thanks to Baccarello giving up his seat, and then they crashed on lap 0 when he was involved. I mean, it's like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He couldn't catch a break. It was just he still came away with actually a pretty good result in the race. So I mean, I guess I guess it got something out of the weekend, which is good.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean, it kind of sucks, because the thing about Anthony is, like I mentioned, we rarely ever see him in Cup, and you want to make the Daytona 500, one of the biggest races in anyone's career, and to basically race your way in the duels and then have that happen, kind of shitty. But it is what it is. So on that note, we have another thing we need to talk about, and this is probably the one. This was probably the most talked about thing the entire weekend, and I wanted to save this for when Sonny got in here, but I think he's still running kind of late, so I'm just going to go ahead and kick this off. We need to talk about Natalie Decker.
Just hear the topic, especially hearing, we're clear. Oh, good fucking God! That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen. I am in big favor of. Look, I am in a huge favor of women in motorsports and female athletes. Always have been, and I'm very supportive about female athletes. But we need to do something about this because this is embarrassing. Okay, it took literally, and I think Carson Ellis said it perfectly on DBC. It took Natalie 3 to 5 business days for her to even get to Sam Mayer and just wreck him. And then listen, Natalie, the brake pedal exists for a reason. Okay, Sam Mayer was already crashed and was coming up into the 35. No fault to Sam, right? Because his race car is destroyed. The hood's probably crinkled up in the windshield. You can't see a damn thing. Not even remotely Sam's fault. Natalie, the brake pedal exists. Learn how to fucking use it. Oh, and not to mention you want to think it's a good idea to go on the radio and bitch about Sam Mayer coming up into you. You had every chance to avoid that wreck, and you still did not avoid it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
That was probably the most embarrassing fucking thing I've seen so far that Daytona weekend. That's just like, why? Like, why? You had many chances, to go a different direction, but okay.
You had plenty of opportunities to avoid a wreck. Hey, your spotter gets paid to guide you through these wrecks. But no, your dumbass still can't even avoid a wreck to save your fucking life. Oh, I wonder what's going through your head when that wreck is happening. I wonder. I genuinely wonder. This is embarrassing. Okay? This is the problem. Huh?
The first thing I thought of in the back of my head when you said, wonder what's going through your head during that wreck. Safe light repair, safe light replace.
Literally, yes. But listen, Natalie has only had like a very few starts in the in the Xfinity series, the O'Reilly series, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And her average finish is in the 30s. Okay? NASCAR, if you're somehow, some way still listening about this, do not make her eligible to run at Daytona or Talladega. For the love of God. Okay? Because this is getting to the point where this is just straight up embarrassing. And not to mention that everyone's like, oh, what about Cletus McFarland? Cletus is a whole different case. Okay? And we'll get to that in a minute. But Natalie here cannot drive for shit. And I had a lot of hope for Natalie Decker back in like 2018, 2019. And once again, disappointed me. She makes Danica look like a fucking saint. Okay? And listen, we need to address another elephant in the room. And that other elephant in the room is the podcast she was on with Matt Tift.
Yikes. Just yikes.
Listen, first and foremost, there is fault on both sides for this. And listen, I'm going to rant about this, and y'all can say whatever you want about it. Shame on Matt Tift for even thinking it was a good idea to remotely clip that piece of conversation that was said on a podcast and think, oh, this would be great to highlight my podcast on my Twitter platform. You dumb fuck. You disingenuous, dense motherfucker. Why would you remotely even think you should put that on social media? Are you stupid? Like, my good Lord. Natalie, shame on you for even going onto this podcast and even talking about how your current husband groomed you when you were a minor. Listen to me. There are some things you should say and don't say on a podcast. That is one of the things you do not say. Because the whole world can hear you. The whole world can hear what you are saying. Do you know? Listen, a lot of people were shitting on Natalie Decker for even... They were shitting on both Matt Tift and Natalie for this. And rightfully so, okay? But good on Matt Tift for deleting the post when he realized, hey, I kind of screwed up here. I shouldn't have done that. Natalie, good Lord, man. You need to stick to OnlyFans. Please, for the love of God, get out of NASCAR. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing you race. And every time you race, you fucking wreck. Like, good Lord, stick to OnlyFans. Anyways, does anyone want to chime in on this?
No, I'm good. No, thank you.
James?
I'll stay out of this.
Channy? I think he's good too.
I think Bro's flabbergasted right after he learned that information.
No, listen. And I know that was a lot to take in, you guys, but at the same time, it needed to be said, okay? Because Natalie Decker is just a disgrace to the... It's an embarrassment to NASCAR, and she really should just stay away from race cars entirely. Focus on being a mother, please. And I'm not saying this to be... You guys know where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to be that person, but... I'm not trying to be sexist, but... Look, this is embarrassing, because she has a TikTok following, or I'm sorry, as Tommy Baldwin calls it, Tic-Tacs. But, this is not good, okay? Because, look, I get it. She only races a couple times a year, and every time she wrecks. It's getting very old. But this is kind of a shit stain on the women who actually do race and work hard to get to where they want to, up into the ranks. Like the Isabella Robustos. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's just this isn't good. But anyway, let's talk about Cletus as well, because listen, I'm pretty sure everyone here is a huge fan of Cletus McFarland. Yes?
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, indeed. So, James, I want your opinion on this. And, we had as we all know, Zach, who was on here when this podcast first started, he and I were having a conversation about this in his server. And I just wanted your guys' thoughts on, was Cletus kind of fed to the wolves here? I'll start with James.
I think that's the perfect way of summing it up. I think, okay, here's the thing. People are going to start complaining about, hey, should NASCAR be strict on who they should let in? I saw the thumbnail. I think it was Ice Titan. They had Natalie and Cletus on the thumbnail talking about. I'm like, that's just a disgrace to Cletus. Because Natalie should not be here because she sucks. Cletus should not have been in a truck race because he was inexperienced in racing in these cars at this track. Cletus is a great driver. Don't get me wrong. He's done well in ARCA. He just does not have the experience that I think he needed to be in that race.
You said it perfectly. Here's my thing. And I've not been huge on Cletus McFarland. I've seen bits and pieces of his stuff. Dude is very talented with the Crown Vics. But here's my thing. You put an inexperienced driver in one of the big 3 series, qualified really good, by the way, which I was pretty shocked to see that. You put him in a truck that's a fairly competitive truck, and he busts his ass on lap 1. No fault to Cletus, in my opinion, because, inexperience, but I really don't think that was a good idea. Okay? And I'll only explain why. He does not have enough seat time. And James said it perfectly. He does not have enough seat time. Okay? He's only made a couple of starts in ARCA and made that truck test at Rockingham a couple weeks ago. Look, I'm all for people trying to fulfill their dreams of being a race car driver and giving it a shot. In my opinion, should Cletus run in my opinion, and this was a very hot topic throughout the weekend, I think Dale Jr. said it best, and I think Checker could back me up here on this. Cletus, in my opinion, should run a full season of ARCA, or maybe some Cars Tour, okay? And I think Jr. said it best there, and it was kind of one of those deals where experience does matter, and it's Daytona. Daytona is a big track. You cannot put an inexperienced driver in a fairly fast truck and expect them to do well. That's basically just feeding them to the wolves. And I know I'm yapping, I'm sorry. I love how people were comparing Cletus to Catherine Lake. Catherine Lake doesn't even remotely belong in this conversation. And I mean that in a nice way. Because Catherine Lake has well over 15, 20 years worth of racing experience. Right in open wheel. And you put her in a stock car. And everyone expects for that to carry over into a stock car. Open wheel racing is a whole different animal. We cannot keep making this comparison of people running an open wheel and expecting that shit to carry over into NASCAR. It does not work like that. So, Checker, I want you to back me up here. Was Cletus, do you think he was rushed up and put in a bad situation?
I get the commitment, what Cletus is doing, of course, trying to follow up with the commitment and the wanting to commit to that honesty and do that thing for Biffle. And I just think if you had a few more years of ARCA and maybe to the Cars Tour, sure, he could go do trucks. Because obviously the main goal for him is the 500, but that's way
oh no,
there.
Hell no.
I would say it's up there. It's like far up there, but I think Cletus was rushed up a little too early. He was rushed up a little early because don't get me wrong. It was actually, I think the reason why they wanted to bring Cletus in, obviously, first off, hype up the Daytona weekend. That's the big one. I know that's been the carrier, but I just think there was just not enough time. That was literally his first truck start. Like, what did you expect, for him to do? Like, especially in a pack, going, that way. I was watching Cletus's in cam, and I was just like, what did you expect? It is nothing against. I was gonna say it's nothing against Cletus, but just not enough time. I just think that he should just have
experienced.
Yeah, exactly. Just have a few more years and then try again.
So, okay, listen. Cletus is a very marketable guy, okay, and I think we could all agree with me on this. He is very marketable and very, very smart. A very smart businessman. But NASCAR, just because we have a big YouTube star in your field, does not mean we should point all the hype towards him. That truck race was one of the most watched truck races in a very long time. You know why? Because Cletus was in the field. Oh, not to mention Tony Stewart was also in the field too. But that got overshadowed because of Cletus McFarland. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Tony coming back, I thought he was going to have a good night until he got wrecked by Jake Garcia. It is what it is. That's super speedway racing. Let's move on from that. But everyone has been talking about this whole shit show about Cletus McFarland wrecking out on lap 1. And again, what did you expect? A driver that's we said it again and again and again. Driver is inexperienced in a very fast car. And I think it's clear, and I'm pretty sure James could also vouch for me too, he does not have any racecraft.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, again, with limited starts.
A couple starts in ARCA at Daytona, Talladega, Bristol and wherever the other start was. I
Charlotte.
forget.
It was Charlotte. I
Charlotte.
remember that.
That's right. Thank you. Charlotte. That's not enough time. That's not enough. That's not enough to build enough time to build a racecraft. That's not enough for a season worth of racecraft. And sometimes that's all you need in trucks, right? And this ain't it. So, in my opinion, I don't think he should run another truck race. But that's just me. At least until he gets more seat time in ARCA or something along those lines. Is Channy even still there?
Yeah, he is. I think he's just, he's just listening.
Okay, because I haven't heard
I'm
from
still
him
here.
in a while. Okay. So that leads me into my next topic. And this kind of basically already answered the question, but this argument is what started this whole deal. Is the NASCAR approval process broken? And I think we basically just answered our own questions right there. I think we could all agree and say it's kind of broken, right? Okay, that was easy. So, real quick, before we get into picks for Atlanta, I actually wanted to mention something, too, that James brought up to me that I almost completely forgot about. So, and I'm probably sure this was also well talked about, too. While Daniel Suarez was having his interview with NASCAR Deportes, or Fox Deportes, sorry, a fan came up to the microphone and screamed 47-47 and touched Daniel Suarez on the shoulder on pit road. On a hot pit road, too. This was just after the Daytona 500 ended. Listen, I have to rant about this too, but I want James to go first. So, James, in my opinion, do we feel like the person who was responsible for this, do you think they deserve to get banned from the sport entirely from this?
I would say so. I mean, and I can so right here. If that happened to any driver, that should be a ban. I mean, I'm not going to be biased just because it's Suarez. I think it doesn't matter who it is. They shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong. And you could tell Suarez is kind of uncomfortable from it. It's like, what the heck? Why does that happen? And so that just, I mean, that just kind of, it's just, that's something that should be common sense that you shouldn't do. And, they did it anyway. And so there's going to be consequences for it.
So, to back up your claim with this, there indeed is an investigation going on through NASCAR. Mike Ford did confirm this on Holler Talk that they are looking for the individual in question. And they said if the person does come clean, it's not going to end well for them. And basically, we know what that means. He's basically going to get banned from all tracks, which, I mean, rightfully so.
I was saying, there was another, I was going to say, I'm not sure, honestly, I'm going to be the short sweet. There was another thing I saw from, Team 54 server. There was this guy, I don't know what the hell it was. He literally took somebody's ashes, just throw them. And I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, yeah, so I know what Checker's talking about here, and I'll get to what ISO said here in a second. But, so, at the end of when Reddick crossed the line at the finish, someone thought it was a good idea to take the ashes of a dead person. It's probably someone they were very close with. I'm not making any assumptions. And they thought it was a great idea to open that box of ashes and spread it out throughout the track. Why? Look, I get that might have been a lifelong dream for that person who was deceased, but no. Just no.
No. You're getting instant ban. No offense. That's instant ban. Right there. No. Just no.
Well, okay. Compared to what we saw with Suarez on pit road, Suarez, the deal of touching a driver is a little bit worse. Because, yeah, that doesn't really look good, but listen, people like this, these two instances right here, are the reason why, if we keep this shit up, NASCAR is going to take away those luxuries we have, okay? The luxury that we're able to even remotely have pit road passes and stand on pit road and be close to the drivers. You keep this shit up, we're going to lose that privilege, and then we're going to lose it for everybody. It's like, don't be the bad person and ruin it for everybody. Just, no, that's not how we're going to do this. Also, ISO said, and I quote, "This is why you don't touch people like that. Doesn't matter if they're popular or not. You're touching the no-no square." Yes, I agree. You should not do that because especially during a live interview. Come on, man. Let's look. I get it. You want your 15 minutes of fame, but that ain't it, dog. That's not it. That is absolutely not it. It's just people need to start behaving at tracks a little bit more better. But anyways, I don't know where Sonny is, and I think he's gonna miss out on this, unfortunately. But let's get into some picks for Atlanta. So I will start this week with Channy.
Alrighty, give me one moment. I got my picks right over here. All right, so starting off with my truck picks. Give me Christian Eckes for the win, and for my dark horse, give me Caden Honeycutt.
Caden Honeycutt's pretty close, so I could see that happening.
For my O'Reilly picks, give me Jesse Love for the win. And for my dark horse, give me Parker Retzlaff. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Retzlaff.
Okay. And for my cup picks, give me William Byron for the win. And for my dark horse, give me Noah Gregson.
Checker?
All right, so like I said, when I was scratching my head, a couple of days ago, I was scratching my head thinking, what can I do? So for trucks, I'm thinking Chandler Smith is going to go back to back. I think it's going to happen. Again, it's probably going to bite me in the ass after this, episode. But my dark horse is going to be John Nemechek. I just think that we have another chance with this. So for my O'Reilly pick, I'm going to go Allgaier this time. Since, we know how that one went, Daytona. But for my
he ran good at... Yeah. Actually, after you finish, I wanted to mention about that. I almost completely forgot about that. Go ahead.
And then my dark horse is going to be Jeremy Clements, but I'll let you, yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your picks.
Oh, okay. As I was talking to AJ about this one was scratching my head a little bit. But then I brought up a point, I was just like, can you imagine this scenario? We had Reddick, win the 500. Now, this may sound crazy for me, of course, but this is just how I feel a story always, tells. I kind of want Bubba Wallace as my pick for Atlanta. I just feel like there is something there. I mean, shit, Bell won here, with a Toyota last year. I just think in a bittersweet moment, I think Bubba Wallace can do it and win Atlanta. And then for my dark horse, since we're kind of still super speedwaying, I'm going to go with a pretty good dark horse. I'm going to say Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse is a good dark horse, considering, he's won in Atlanta in an Xfinity race a long while ago, like back in 2012 in a Roush car. So that's a good pick. I will take, for the truck race, I got to go get my picks because I'm not going to lie, I forgot. I will, oh yeah, that's right. I will take Hurricane Hocevar for the win. My dark horse will be Jake Garcia. I will also take, for the Xfinity race, I will take Jesse Love. And my dark horse for that race will be... I totally forgot, not gonna lie. What did I say was my dark horse for Xfinity? I completely forgot. Chastain, that's right. I forgot Chastain's running the Xfinity race. He's driving for Jordan Anderson. I will take for the win in Cup. Oh boy, I'm probably going to get crucified for this one. Give me Todd Gilliland. Okay, who did that? I will take Cody Ware as my dark horse. Since Sonny is still not here, I will go ahead and give everyone his picks. He will pick Blaney for the win in the Cup race, Hocevar as the dark horse. Xfinity, he will take Austin Hill to go back-to-back. And then for his dark horse, he picked Dr. Patrick Starpoli. What are we doing? What are we doing?
No. I think that would beat what the fuck allegations compared to the fucking Chandler Curtis Smith pick. I think that's the best one so far.
For sure. And then for Trucks, he picked Kyle Busch to win, as always. Not surprised. I think he's just desperate for Kyle Busch win at this point, and Caden Honeycutt is his dark horse. So, back to the point, I completely forgot about this, but let's talk about... I forgot about James. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, James.
Go ahead, James.
Hang on, let me pull my picks back up. So, for the truck race, we're going to pick... I have picked him both race weekends so far this year. Give me Kyle Busch for the truck win. And as my dark horse, the free agent, air quotes, truck, Ty Dillon. In the O'Reilly series, I don't know why I am. I mean, he's going to super speedways and stuff, but give me Sammy Smith for the victory. And my dark horse is Parker Retzloff. The Cup Series, you knew it was coming. Daniel Suarez at Atlanta. And then my dark horse is Cody Ware.
Why did we all think it was a good idea to pick Cody Ware?
At least mine was reasonable.
Actually, speaking of Cody Ware...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Breaking news.
Wait, what?
Breaking news just came out from Jordan Bianchi. Joe Gibbs Racing has filed a lawsuit against former competition director Chris Gabehart, alleging he embarked a brazen scheme to steal JGR's most insensitive information and use it for the benefit of a direct competitor in NASCAR, Spire Motorsports.
Oh, well, this is...
Oh, boy.
Do we want to cover it now, or do we...
Yeah.
All right, fuck it, we're doing it now.
Wow.
This is a live, you know...
How long until someone blames it on Ty Gibbs?
Oh, Lord. Wow. So... wow. I have no words.
That's a huge...
You check out the same font right there.
I thought the change wasn't the same in the fucking T54 server. Okay, I'll delete mine. Hold on. But anyways, I guess from the standpoint, AJ, I'm speechless right now. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, unfortunately, NASCAR is back in session. Listen.
Oh, wow.
Listen, that's a really big deal. And wow, I have no words. Look, Chris Gabehart was a very successful piece at JGR. When he left to go to Spire, look, you just don't do that. So I'm not going to say much because this literally just came out. But wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking hopefully when we get more information, yeah, Sonny just has an emergency topic. That's what we're talking about right now. That's wow. I'm shocked right now because what the hell? This literally just came out while we were, finishing up the,
Yeah, so like when we were finishing up the episode, and I'm just scrolling through, and I saw a notification from Jeff Gluck, and it said, "Well, breaking news." I'm like, "Uh-oh," and then I saw the tweet from Jordan Bianchi. I was, "Wow, that's."
Wow,
that's insane.
I can only imagine how the lawsuit and the fines on that one. That's yikes.
Well, not necessarily fines. It's more of a, oh boy, another lawsuit. Because God forbid we can't stand to have another lawsuit in this sport, right? Am I right?
But anyways, I'm guessing we obviously can't cover much. This literally just came out, so honestly, if we hear more updates, we're obviously going to cover it. But for now, yeah.
Hey, what's this racing in all my court dealings?
Look, man, I don't even know at this point anymore, to tell you the truth. But look, I don't know. Listen, I've been a fan of this sport for a very long time, and I think we can all agree that's a pretty big deal. You're basically taking sensitive information from your former team and carrying it over to a new team. No. You do not do that. Absolutely not. We do not do that. That is bad. So unfortunately, I hate to kind of cut this episode kind of short because, Sonny isn't here, and I really hated it because he wanted to say something. pertaining to this week, but I guess we'll have to wait on it next week. So on that note, we're going to close out this episode. I know it was kind of short, and unfortunately, we're all kind of short on time today. So on that note, thank you all for listening and watching. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time, this is AJ signing out.
This is Checker signing out. We're off and away and headed to Atlanta as we are recording this. So, goodbye, everybody.
Channy is signing out as well because he just exists.
Hold on, wait. Did James already go?
No,
not yet.
I was waiting on him.
all right. Well, this is James signing off.
And this is Channy signing off, and I will be enjoying some Red Baron pizza for the upcoming race. You guys take it easy and have a good weekend.